Can AI really build an entire tech company? I'm about to find out, and I'm going to show you exactly how we're doing it. This is Claude, and in a few minutes, you'll see it do something that takes entire product teams weeks to complete. But that's just the beginning. I'm going to use AI to build a real startup called Splice at splice.vip. We've already talked to customers, started validating the idea, and now we're going to build it with AI doing 90% of the work. Now, the idea is to help community leaders build more engaging communities to decrease churn and also to be able to better monetize their communities. And we're going to automate all of this. This could either be a massive success or a complete failure, but either way, you're going to see the whole process. Now, let me show you exactly how we're starting this. One more thing before we jump into the video. This is not quick cuts, short form video, action-packed stuff. Now, what you're getting here is a real behind the scenes look, and you're seeing all the mistakes as well as what goes well. I've cut here and there, but generally speaking, you get to see all of it, and it's going to be longer form, and it's going to be a bit slower because of that. I'll include chapters, but all of that said, you're on the ride with me here, so I don't want to delete these parts of the video that show some struggles in prompting and in getting where we want to go. If you want something quick and fast, look for the short form content. If not, let's get going. App is going to be called splice.vip, and I've already built a bit of a website for it. So let's just take a look. So Splice. The idea here is to sell access to your fan community and stop churn with AI. And we're doing it primarily for streamers and YouTubers, but our ICP may change based on what we find. Still though, a lot of the core features are going to stay the same. So we have this idea about allowing people to sell access to their community, and on top of it, making sure people retain better. All right, so let's break that down a little bit. And then we're going to discuss how we're going to input this into Claude. We have this general idea, and I've already thought of, okay, what pieces go into this that actually are going to help people, one, monetize, and two, retain and grow their community. So those are the pieces that we're really focusing in on. And the best way to do it, of course, is to actually talk to people with communities, and I've done that. What we have here is the initial roadmap, and this is somewhat based on the chats that I've had, and also some of the insights we gathered from different forums, different creators, all of this stuff. And the pieces we're going to help with at first, primarily because they're probably the most important and also easy enough to build on our own. We're going to do two things. We're going to get a weekly or daily summary of important posts in the community. Why is this important? Because we want to make sure people don't miss out and get the value from the community that they deserve to get as being part of it. I talked to one community leader, and he said that everybody loves these. He actually goes in and pulls out all the best posts and then puts them back into ChatGPT, asks ChatGPT to summarize these things, and then kind of does this all manually, puts it into a doc, and then shares this out with the community. So we're going to build something that helps do this, because a lot of these posts are going to get lost, especially if we're building on top of like Discord or Slack. So I probably should have said that. This is actually to augment Slack or Discord communities. Maybe we go to Telegram too later. Okay, so that's one piece. And the other piece that I thought was super interesting is how do we get members to speak to each other and help each other out? Well, we need to make intros. This might be a little bit harder to execute at first. This might be something we do later. But the other piece is we also need to say, all right, we're going to sell access to the community. So think if we have those two pieces, then we'll actually have a very solid start to get going. Now, you can see I've actually done a lot of research, and we have some features mapped out. and stuff for the future. Again, this is going to be prioritized. But where do we even start? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to input a prompt into Claude. And I actually do like using Claude for this, because what happens is that you can create a project. That's something you actually can't do in ChatGPT at the moment. So we're going to do something in Claude. So here, okay, here's the actual prompt that we have in Claude. And we're going to say, we're going to use a prompting technique. Oops, and it's not experienced, it's experienced. You are an experienced product manager with 15 years of experience. All right, a little redundant, but fine. Think of this as an extremely detailed product requirements doc, and it's more like a product spec. So we're going to define exactly what we want the software to do. And here are example questions to ask. And we're going to combine this with some step-by-step instructions. So we're going to do this first. Then once we have this, we're going to do this and create the user flow. We're going to write the full user experience and then finally write a development plan. The reason we want to do this user experience documentation first is we're going to attach that to our next prompt in order to create this development plan. And I do not want Claude to move on until I tell it to. Okay, so we're going to ask it if it understands, and we're just going to see what happens here. Okay, so Claude understands. All right, so it's going to wait. Now, it says, okay, let's discuss, and then we'll keep moving on. Perfect. Let's go. So we're sharing the app idea, of course, right? So this is where having something written out already about the app very much helps. So we're going to reference okay, and we're going to pull a lot of this from the website. And I may, let's do it just like this. So first, we're going to pull this in. So here is the app concept. One thing we want to do here is give it the app concept and also say, if you have questions or anything is unclear or you need clarification to make better informed decisions, ask first. Clarification. Okay, so here's the app concept, and let's separate this. So we're going to sell access to your fan community and stop churn with AI. Okay, that's the broad scope of it. Now, we want to say, what does the user actually do first? And like I mentioned, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install this as a, this will be installed as a Discord to Discord and or Slack communities. So we're probably saying that we actually need, this probably means we need an extension to work with these softwares. Maybe not. Your job is to let me know. We're going, so now we want, when the user first comes in, to what should the user see? And I think probably there are two experiences. There's a first-time user experience, and then there's everything else. So first-time user experience is to, ideally we would have them connect their community first. That said, there's often it's often the biggest component of connecting something sensitive that stops people in their tracks. So how do we think about this? And maybe it's actually something that we could ask the AI here. So first time user experience. The big goal is to have our app connected to Discord or Slack. But this often creates a lot of friction. Okay. How do we minimize this and show the value of the product so the user is comfortable connecting? And I think this at first is something where we say, look, we're not going to make changes. Likely we need to have copy that says we're not going to make any changes to your community without your permission. Okay, so I think that's something that we need to do here. And then we want to go ahead and allow the user to, I think probably we're going to enable everything kind of right away. And so let's go back to Splice. And the two things that I said that were probably very important and we want to launch with are, of course, not here. It's going to be this engagement and retention piece, daily, weekly summary of important posts in the community. And eventually, like I mentioned here, is we want to actually personalize the recaps per each person's interest. So maybe that, I don't know how hard this is going to be. Maybe that's something we can actually think of doing in the MVP, because really it just means that we have to ask the user some questions. So maybe it's some prompted questions when somebody joins the community. And that would actually mean that the user here has to set that up. So maybe we delay that. So I think that, okay, the first thing is we're going to do this. The first thing we want to build is the community user should the ability to choose how many recaps they get. Okay. So here, so we have, let's explain this to the LLM. We have two sides. One is the community manager who will install the app and use it to retain users, retain, grow, and monetize users. Then we have the community members. So we'll be building features for both the manager, and we'll just call this by community manager. We'll just call him manager. And so that sets that from now on. The manager should be led to set up the app in the first time user experience, FTUI, right? And let's here we go. First time user experience. Okay. After that, we need to show a dashboard with important community metrics. So one thing we can do here is also use comparisons, and a lot of times the LLM will still be familiar enough with this stuff. And so we want to do something like, I know for a fact that people thought, oh, it's not called Profitwell, but Profitwell versus, what was the other one? ChartMogul Baremetrics. Okay. So what we want to do here with important community metrics, we want this to feel addicting. Like they want to check it multiple times a day. This is what happened with Baremetrics and Profitwell. We should copy or take inspiration from those dashboards and incorporate those ideas into our app along with metrics TBD for measuring the success of the community, including retention, activation, and engagement, i.e. overall community health, along with monetization, which will take inspo from the other softwares I just mentioned. Okay. I think, okay, now we'll do for communities. All right. Second, we want to be able to allow the manager to monetize members. There may be multiple membership tiers. Okay, so you get different things. And so probably I can even pull from here. Sell community access, membership upgrades. And I'm going to remove token-based entry for now because I just... Here is the basic idea. Okay. Also, for each tier except the highest, we'll want to, basically we want to allow, and we actually want upgrades to be possible, to allow and encourage members to upgrade membership tiers from within the chat app. All right, so I think this alone is really our MVP. I would love to add some more stuff in, but I actually don't think it makes sense. I think if we nail these two pieces, then actually we've done a lot here. So that's what we're gonna do. So we just hit enter. And this is great. So all right, so we can actually see here that Claude is asking us a lot of questions about the scope, the structure, etc. And this is great. I mean, we wanted to have it clarify things. And so that's exactly what it's doing. Should we focus on Slack or Discord first? And actually, I think we're going to start on Discord. Oh, interesting. I hadn't even considered public and private communities. I actually need to look into how that works a little bit more. But I think you guys can see. It's like all these pieces, the member experience, all of this. Like, what should we do? So this actually continues, it's going to continue to take a while to do this and build this out. So I'm going to go ahead and finish answering all of these questions, and I'll show you the final doc that we've come up with in the next video. Hope this is helpful for you guys. If you have any questions about how we approach this and how we're figuring all of this out, or you're just interested in the app, please leave a comment and let me know.